Peace, peace, everybody, and we are back with another Trauma Tip Tuesday. Can you believe it's Tuesday already? It seems like I was just doing last week's video, so time is really getting away from us. So, this Tuesday's topic is going to be, how do you know when you're healing? Everyone wants to know. I've been doing my work. I've been going to therapy. I've been listening to my childhood trauma coach. I've been, doing all of these things. How do I know that it's working, right? That's what everyone wants to know. You put all this work in and you just want it to work. So before we get into the tips on how you know that you're healing, let's start off by giving just a little bit of information about what does healing look like to you. So I have some notes here, so if you see me look down, don't mind me. I hope you guys didn't think I was going to memorize all of this, but I have been working diligently, and so I have some notes, so please just, don't mind me if I look down. So first of all, let's go back. What is healing, or what does healing look like to us or to you? So when we think about healing, the majority of people equate that to fixing something. Right? You just want it to be fixed. You don't want it to look like it did before, right? That's the premise of healing. I want it to be sparkly and new and different. I do not want any remnants of what happened before, right? So the word healing literally means to make whole, as restoring something or someone to an undamaged state. And when something of value is damaged, such as a painting or an artifact, our practice is to always to repair it in such a way that it looks as though the damage never happened, right? Now, unfortunately, what we do is we bring that into the mindset of emotional healing. You want to look as if you never were hurt. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So taking a note from the Japanese culture, what I've learned about what they have a tendency of doing is that when something of value is damaged, what the Japanese do is they repair it with precious metals and lacquer, like gold, silver, copper, right? So that the breaks are not only visible, but they form a pattern of their own. And what this does is it tells a story of the history of that particular thing. So you can see the original beauty in it, but then you also can see the breaks and how it has its pattern. And that pattern now becomes art. Now it becomes part of the new piece of valued thing, right? So that's the main thing with healing, is that what happened to you, the event that happened that caused you to change, right? Just slightly. It doesn't change who you are completely. It just changes you slightly. Is now a part of this new, beautiful rebirthing of who you now become, right? And so we have to stop looking at these new things and behaviors and ways of being as something ugly and undesirable, right? So giving yourself some grace and some compassion, understanding that it took X amount of years for this trauma to affect me. It's going to take just about the same work and effort to heal it. But healing does not mean that there aren't going to be any remnants of what happened. There are going to be remnants of it. But now it becomes part of something new and something beautiful. And now you can look at it with admiration and say, wow, this made me who I am. I am now more strong. I am now more resilient. I am now more conscious. I am now more aware. I am now more protective. I am now more of whatever it is. You're more of it now because of the event that happened. So when we get to the point of healing, we can look at those dark moments, right? And we look at those dark moments and we say, wow, I am better because of it, right? So the age question everyone wants to know. Okay, Nazia, how do we know when we're healing? So I have a few signs here to let you know that all of the work that you've been doing is working, right? And you're on your way. You're on your way. So the first step is you're getting better at stating how you feel. So let's take a moment and think about that, because before, some of us, now everybody's trauma is different, which means everyone's healing is going to be different. So you may not struggle with this part, right? This may not resonate with you, but it may resonate with someone else. So these steps that I have are generalized steps. They're not specific to individuals, right? And so just take what resonates with you and just discard the rest. Okay? Are we clear about that? Okay, good. So the first step again is you're getting better at stating how you feel. So some of us, based off of our trauma, we're kind of closed off, or we feel like, no one cares. So why should I talk about how I feel? When you begin to become comfortable with articulating your feelings, that's a step to knowing that you're healing. You're on the right path. Step 2. When things go wrong, you don't automatically blame yourself. Now, how many of us have done that? Every single time something doesn't go the way that we anticipated, it somehow is our fault, because we learn to be self-critical, right? During any type of trauma, childhood trauma, neglect, abuse, abandonment, somehow it's a self-reflective, and you criticize yourself. So when you can be in a situation where things aren't going quite the way that you want them to go, and you don't blame yourself, it just is what it is, then that's another step to identifying or to getting to the point where you understand that you're healing. Okay, that's step 2. Step 3, you no longer second guess yourself. Oh my goodness, how many of us are so used to second guessing ourselves? You want to know why? Because when you are growing up in a household or an environment where everything you do is criticized, everything you do is critiqued, and it just seems as though you can't do anything right, then it causes you to be self-critical, right? And to second guess yourself. And when you aren't used to recognizing your own voice, because your head is just so clouded with everybody else's opinions of you and what you should be doing, then it causes you to second guess. When you finally start to hear that voice, that gut, that intuition, that inner you second guess it. So when you get to the point where you can hear that and you don't second guess it, baby, you are on your way to healing. You hear me? Step 4, you're able to speak up without worry. Now, I don't know about you guys, y'all, if y'all don't want to be honest, then that's fine, but I'm going to stand in my truth, and I'm going to stand in my authenticity. I love that word. And so what I'm going to say is that for so long, I was afraid of speaking up because I cared too much about what everybody else was going to think about me. I was worrying that these people weren't going to love me anymore, that these people weren't going to respect me, or they were going to look at me differently. When you can speak up for yourself and stand in your truth and not worry, you my darling, are on your way to healing. Step 5, you're much less sensitive to rejection or slights. Let that marinate for a minute. Step 6, you recognize, label, and dismantle triggers. How awesome is that? If any of you are on your healing journey and you are trying to get to the place where you get to identify, label, and dismantle your triggers, baby, that is a task within itself. But I want you guys to understand that when you get to that place where you can say, you know what, this causes me to feel this way because it reminds me of that. And not only identify it and label it, but then dismantle it and say, I'm not going to give that any power. I'm not going to give that any power. That used to be a trigger, but I'm not going to give that any power. Then you are on your way to healing. That was step 6. Step 7, you respect boundaries and set clear boundaries, right? So when you can respect someone else's boundaries, in addition to setting your own clear boundaries and standing by that boundary, because it's a difference in setting a boundary and not standing by it. You can set a boundary and stand by that boundary, then baby, you're on your way to healing. Step 8, you take pride in what you handle well, and you cope with things that need some more work. So if a situation arises and typically you would have handled it in such a way that may not have been satisfactory to yourself, right? And now you look at that situation and you're in that situation and you can handle it differently and you take pride. Like if this was 3 months ago, I'd have thrown a whole adult temper tantrum, but today I stand in who I am, right? If you can do that, then you're on your way to healing. Step 9, we're only one more step away. Step 9, you've begun to see yourself completely. Ooh, that gives me chills. You begin to see yourself completely. Completely. That means the flaws. That means your good, your assets, your strengths, your weaknesses, your flaws, the things that can be worked on, the things that you have mastered. Because when you are healing from childhood trauma, you're not a horrible person. You're not this, piece of trash that has to be just thrown away because you're just unfixable. You are a whole, complete person. And when you can stand in your completeness and you can see yourself completely, all of your flaws, all of your errors, all of your gifts, all of your purpose, everything that you are, be it good, bad, dark, peace and light, whatever it is, when you can see yourself completely and love yourself completely as you are, you, beloved, are on your way to healing. And the last one, number 10, you are no longer ashamed. You are no longer ashamed. I am who I am, not justifying poor behavior. That's not it. But you're no longer ashamed at having childhood trauma. You're no longer ashamed at the things that you had to go through. You don't walk around with that shame and that guilt. You hold your head up high and you say, I am who I am. And these things are a part of me, but I'm working on them. So all of those things are signs that you are healing. So if any of that resonated with you, then congratulations, beloved, because you are on your way to healing. And remember, I love each and every one of you. And remember, healing is a journey, not a destination. Peace.